I want to also devote some time to your expertise, which I don't find so common, at least among my network. So currently you're like a senior organizational development specialist of a Singapore-based software development company. Mention that for context, I think that's important. And this is also a place where you have design and launch leadership development or LD strategy. In plain, simple English, what is OD and what is LD?
So I do tell my children that they will ask me, wait, Papa, you talk a lot. How come you always got so many meetings? You talk to so many people, and then all of this. Then they also realize that a lot of the meetings that I have are one-on-ones. They're not like big group settings and stuff like that. So I tell them that my job is to help people. I help people solve their own problems. But I also tell them that most of the time, what I do is I don't solve the problem for them. Yeah, and I guess a lot of times leadership development and parenting is very similar. I also tell my kid, Papa also sometimes help you solve your problem. Sometimes I ask you to solve your own problem, right? So it's the same thing, lor. Papa is very good at helping people find their own answer to their own solution, to have their own solutions to their own problems.
Would you say that's more LD than OD?
It's a mix, I guess. It's more consulting and coaching in that sense. OD looks at a very systemic view of organization performance. As a typical consultant, and OD has a lot of research and stuff like that about what makes an organization tick and thrive, right? So organization development is a lot about organization effectiveness. And when we say organization effectiveness, we look at people and process. Even though a majority of the work that I do focuses on people, because people create the structure and the processes in which an organization can perform. And with regard to LD is a subset of the work of OD, and that's primarily because I think I come from the military, and all those people at this moment who are listening are in a career right now would definitely agree that the leader or leaders in any organization is a key determinant of the success or failure of any company. So when I do leadership development, I look at it, even when I do leadership development, it's not just about training, just about coaching. I do care about building an entire ecosystem where the culture is strong, the leaders are strong, and the leaders are equipped with both the skills and the mindset to help the organization succeed. I'm not sure if that's plain English, but I do try my best to look at a multi-pronged approach rather than just focusing on, hey, you need this, I can train you. I connect typical service-oriented person, right, end to end. I start with identifying and assessing leadership capabilities, things like 360 psychometrics, and then moving on to identify, hey, there's a problem here or there's a gap here, let's improve you on that part, set up a development plan, do a series of initiatives, including trainings, coaching, learning circles, leadership support, leadership circles, and then providing resources, and then coming back again to do reviews and performance assessments and stuff like that. So it goes full circle in that sense.
You spend some time describing what you do and what does LD and OD mean. I want to ask you maybe from the audience perspective from the outside. In your view, how does an organization with great organizational development and leadership development look like versus one that has zero or minimal kind of OD and LD in place?
I would say that one that has, and I see OD not just as a role, and what I think OD is a concept, is also a mindset. I've seen organizations with leaders with good OD mindsets. They don't need the OD team. And what they do is they actually task their HR department to think more strategically. OD also looks at strategy, innovation, like top level C-suite considerations, because everything needs to be linked to business value, right? And companies with good OD mindsets look at the entire picture and the system and believe that the culture, the people do drive overall performance. That versus a company that has a HR department and they don't have an OD mindset, HR becomes purely transactional. So administrative, it's like I pay you, everything is extrinsic motivations, not intrinsic. And I haven't seen it for myself, but the understanding is there is increasing challenge as the workforce develops to Gen Z and the newer Gen Alpha that's coming in, who focus a lot on purpose and value. And with the rise of social media, news articles, podcasts like what's happening right now, a lot of these references do talk a lot about meaning, purpose, and values in life, right? And that does trigger the next generation of workers that they do care about the social purpose that they have and stuff like that. So if organizations right now don't think about performance or think about people from an OD perspective, what happens is they really look at only the very HR or extrinsic motivational factors, and it will become quite painful for them to, they will realize that they will be bleeding a lot of money trying to, because of high turnovers lah. Because actually it does cost quite significantly a lot of money to hire new people and retrain and train them. Retention is actually a cheaper alternative as compared to hiring new people and letting them go. You train finish already, these people go because they are not happy, and then you hire new ones. It's actually very costly to an organization. Sense? Yes.
Yeah.
Answering well.
No,
So
no,
the difference is, I think it's mainly that one with an OD mindset, it's less transactional. They view people as people rather than as just pure resources.
when it's a good time, or what are the signs that a company experiences that signal that it's time to focus or to start looking at OD and LD? Context is this. No one starts a business, in my opinion, you start a business to make money. Some startups start a business or start a startup to raise money, but that's a different story for another day. So if your fundamental purpose is to make money through delivering your services or products, when is the right time to start thinking about OD and LD?
I think when you start a business, the one thing that you really want, so there are a couple of considerations. Number one, of course, it really depends on the kind of company that you are leading. If you're trying to start a decent-sized company or earn decent amount of money. I mean, unlike my wife who's a sleep consultant, she's also still trying to build a team, but her work and her industry can be one person run the business. Similarly, or florist, F&B, sometimes you can always do like a entrepreneur, do my own thing, right? When you start a business and you want to make your business succeed, the one thing that you want is to have the best and strong and most ideal team there is. And when that is in mind, this is already OD. Yeah, everything to do. So when you are an entrepreneur and we start looking at the business across the entire system, from processes to admin to logistics, there is the practical sense. And this is the part that I think there's a myth that OD doesn't fulfill business value, which is not true. The underlying pinning of OD, which we call organization development, right, is growth and business value. So as an entrepreneur, generally the OD concept comes in already. It's just a matter of what you prioritize from a strategic perspective, whether or not you see people as resources, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially if all these people are there to help, are the hands and legs to get things done, right? But you do want the most motivated individuals, most motivated teams who will be there, sacrifice, and do what it takes to help your company grow, and which is why I'm saying to you, it is by right at day one, you need to think OD, you need to think organization level, and not just the practical terms of how much is this going to cost. They are all investments, time, resource, money, and regardless of whatever business you are in, you should be thinking OD every day. Yeah.